So I found, oh yeah, dog, get away. So I found a dirty spot of the field, but you can see lots of weeds. But this is what I wanted to show you. Right here, if you see that, that's just a little guy. So what happened is, this is Wednesday morning, and of course now it's too windy to spray. But those little guys have just come up. We had rain on Friday, and rain always brings weeds better than irrigation does, because irrigation's cold water, and the rain comes in there softer, has a little nitrogen, gives those weeds a chance to come. And I think that for the most part, the alfalfa that's coming back, most of it should be growing good by now. So there's a couple of spots that are pretty bad. I'm gonna spin you slowly here. I don't know if you see that ridge. Well, I guess not much ridge. Anyhow, there's a little higher part which would have been a terrace at one time. That part would have been drier when we worked it, and maybe we didn't get the cultivator in the ground as far there. So there's more alfalfa, but like I said, the alfalfa doesn't bother me at the moment. It will get killed with the Roundup. There's a couple of the grass spots that are still living pretty good. So, but like I said, in a whole, like if you look ahead of me, it's not terrible, but like I said, it needs to get sprayed. But I was happy to get that rain, because that rain will bring the weeds pretty good, and then we'll end up having to spray it again, I'm sure. I'll show you the other field. Like this is on the end of the field where there would have been more weed pressure from before. There's lots of weeds, and then that other field, I'll show you how dirty it is. But that was a field that was completely green with weeds before I worked it. So I mean, your alfalfa breakage should be cleaner. So, and really in the last 30 years where I'm walking here, in the last 30 years it has been either hay or pasture, because I did plant it all to I had this all irrigated pasture at one time before I got my pastures up west. And just a side note, it's not efficient at all when you got land that'll grow potatoes to grow it just to irrigated pasture, and with sand you don't hold your moisture. So the amount of fertilizer and water I put on, I could pay $1 a day somewhere else and come out ahead of it a lot better. So anyhow, like I said, in 30 years this has probably only not been a forage on this half circle probably about 5 times, because before I had bought it, it had been hay for years and years and years, and then we broke it and planted it back to hay, and then I've rented it for potatoes twice, and I think, well, one time it was for a 3-year deal, so they grew, I guess I've had potatoes 3 times, because they grew potatoes, seed canola, then potatoes again. And then, and he did crazy high yields on his potatoes. It was unreal. Anyhow, so, but even the other half circle, it was farmed before we had it, but it just grew weeds. So there's way more weed pressure, even in 30 years, you know, on the other side. But the other farm was a dryland farm that we put irrigation on, and so it had blown so bad for years because it just was tillage. But it, like I said, you take a leak on the ground and, you know, 50 weeds will come up. So anyhow, I'm gonna go change an ear tag on a heifer and haul a show heifer out to pasture at Wyatt's, and hopefully this afternoon the wind goes down and we'll spray. There's some critters. Slowly here, you'll notice that where there used to be a couple hundred cows, there's 3. So anyhow, I'll bring you out when we actually do some spraying. So this is the same field just at the end, but you can see the weed pressure. Weed pressure is pretty high here. But, and if you see the stones, this was potato dirt that was hauled in. And that was hauled in a long time ago, back when potato dirt just had everything in it. Whatever got dug, they got sorted from potatoes, was in the dirt. Now, meanwhile, for the last quite a few years, they use sand machines or else other grading systems, and the rocks get sorted out in one spot. Then there's, you know, heavy dirt lumps with another, and then all the sand and light loamy soils come out a different place. But you can see why. Look at the weeds here. This is a little dryland spot that comes, there's sail bulls, but we got lots of ragweed and kochia. Kochia and ragweed are a sand farmer's best friend and worst enemy. They're not the best friend, but they're so close to you. Anyhow, you can grow ragweed and kochia pretty easy, but like this ragweed here, that stuff will get 8 feet tall, and the kochia will go 6 feet tall if you don't spray it. But I know some guys that, of course, it's not so common now. It used to be years ago with small equipment, a lot of guys didn't get their work done. I mean, now a guy can go and, you know, plant 300 acres a day. You know, it's a whole different ball game. But, you know, a guy used to have, you know, 3 sections of irrigation and you know, there's a whole bunch of different row crops and different things. It was you know, more believable that a guy would just get to where a quarter didn't get planted and it was the middle of June. So there's a lot of guys in the old days that would cut ragweed and kochia silage for their cows, and they just mix it with their corn silage, and it'd make good feed. Kochia is good feed as long as if you eat it young. If you can put cows on kochia, they do awesome on it as long as it's young and they can keep ahead of it. I've grazed cows on kochia before, and they will gain on it. I mean, that's why kochia was brought to this country, was for feeding cows. Just it went a little crazy, but we never had kochia weed. Grandpa says anyhow, he never had kochia weed until he had bought certified seed. When he bought certified seed, that's when he brought kochia into his farm. Before that, he never had weed problems. He planted the same barley and oat mix that he planted every year, and he'd feed out of the same bin, and then he would seed it again. So we'll go look at the other field, but here you can see the red roots coming like a dream. But like I said, that's this end. This low end has been a slough at one time, and then, like I said, it's definitely got more weed pressure. And it also had more moisture to bring it. Oh, here's a GPS, whoopsie. So it would have been soft here, and when Dad was seeding it, what he would have done is he would have come back in. This was him headed the other direction, and he would have pushed the button, and then it would have turned green, and then it would have turned off, and it would have got to that point before he realized it wasn't engaged. So, but when someone's willing to help you, you don't go and give them hell for that. So, and Dad doesn't watch my videos anyhow, but if he watched this one, he knows what happened, because there's some worse ones than that. But the seeds are still in the ground, and if I don't chop it myself, it doesn't matter. The rows can cross each other, it doesn't really matter, because they'll come in with a rotary head and they'll cut 10, I think they got a 22-foot head now for that big monster chopper, and like I said, he'll cut all my corn in one day. So anyhow, we'll go look at some more dirty corn. Sniper's trying to help me. Anyhow, so now Sniper's hitting me with his tail in my face. Anyhow, I don't know if you guys can see all those little weeds. So what happened here is there's just a jillion weeds. I'll hold it closer to my face. Anyhow, you've seen weeds before. Anyhow, there's a jillion weeds, but what happened the other day when I was hauling to the res, the wind blew like a son of a gun, and this actually blew. Soil was moving. So those little weeds are actually hurt from wind erosion. So, but we'll still spray them nonetheless. I lost some corn in the wind too. But see, I'll take you here. You see how silty that furrow is. You know, like, anyhow, it's really silty, so it's blown. It didn't blow enough to cut this corn off. Dog found some kind of animal. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look very good. Anyhow, so this corn blew. Down at the end, there's about, my end rows are missing. The sand just cuts them right off. But that's why on this sand farm we try to use responsible tillage, if you can say that. I know Brad will roll his eyes at that one because he figures that zero till's the only way, but I agree it has its place, and if we had the right equipment we'd do it. But we don't farm enough to buy the right equipment. Excuse me. Anyhow, you can see where nothing was planted. Look at the weeds there, right? So, anyhow, that's my little hayfield, my miniature little hayfield that I got worried and planted the oats in. And then this is between the corn and there, and so like this never got planted, and it is packed full of weeds. So anyhow, this video is going to be too long and we won't even have sprayed anything. And Sniper's the star as usual. Oh, here's a shot here. So you got to look past the weeds for a second. So there's a row of grass. There's a row of grass. So this is on the end. So I never planted the oats here. So like I said, planting the oats may have been a mistake, but like I said, when you got sand, like I said, I've lost so many, we'll just say a ridiculous amount of money this year with calves, throwing away a few $100s in hayseed is nothing. It's not a big deal at all, because if I lose my land, it's worse. So anyhow, I'll go back and get playing cowboy again. Wyatt and I rode horses last night till 10:30. His horse had a meltdown and threw himself on the ground and at the hitching rail, so we had a little training session there. So, but it's time to get these horses working good. I've been invited to go to a branding, and the horse I'm using I've never roped an animal off of before, so she's gonna get schooled quick and try not to get myself bucked off at the branding. Anyhow, we'll show you some spraying at some point, I promise. Well, some of the pitfalls of your dad having less for himself to do is that he comes out during your daughter's band concert and sprays all your corn. That the concert he was supposed to be at. So I didn't get any shots of spraying. Here we have a splint. The ram broke off, so Dad put square tubing and duct tape. So now we'll rebuild the ram if we can get the parts. That's the problem when you farm with old shit, is it's not easy to get the parts, and Hardy parts are just atrocious. They're literally twice as expensive as anything else on a sprayer. They twice as much money for anything Hardy. But you can see how dusty it is. The top of the tank is full of dirt just from spraying. I'll look at the back window of the tractor. It's black. So, anyhow, you should be out there, dog. So the corn sprayed. But like I said, spraying's not a huge job, but it just needs to get done, and it got done. So, right, Snipe? Anyhow, I'm gonna go move that pivot and get ready to start cutting hay. Well, as you can see, I just moved the pivot, ordered water for morning, looked at some new hay binds. I looked at a Kubota, a Massey, and a Kloss, and they're all lots of money, but they all got big deals on right now. And anyhow, back to corn. As you can see, the sprayer can straddle 3 rows, so that's pretty handy because we've done it before where we just had to spray on an angle. So here, Sniper and I can go get sick together. I can say, oh, there's a track. Well, that's the pivot track. Whoops. So here is the end where it got driven over, and it's always amazing what comes back, but there's some that doesn't come back from it, especially as it gets bigger, because next time I spray it'll be bigger. But as you can see, even just from yesterday till this morning, those weeds grew. So Tristan came out to see what was going on, that I left to go help take a hydraulic line off that tractor, and he was thinking maybe I got abducted by aliens. Yeah. He's giving me the look now that maybe I should shut up. But so this is what wind erosion does to corn. It just cuts it up and curls them leaves up. Now Sniper's licking my hand. So I guess this is as good as any place anyhow. Oh, not in the shadow, holy cow. But you can see the weeds are coming pretty good, so it's good that we got it sprayed, and even my little pea plants will die. So, but like I said, I ordered water, so that shouldn't be a problem. But you can see this soil is dry, but look, the roots of the corn still in moisture, but if you wait too long they won't be. So this, I don't know, it must be Thursday. So Friday I'll start up the other place, and then Saturday I'll start up here and run Saturday, Sunday. And then by Sunday I'll either know whether I'm gonna go back and start again on the other place, and then, or what's gonna happen. So anyhow, there's the Hardy sprayer with its splinted arm. So be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and have yourselves a great day. Take care.